It's a Friday night at 9 p.m. You would think these dessert joints would be flocked with crowds, but you'd be wrong. Across big cities in America, donut shops, ice cream parlors, and cookie vendors are mostly empty in the late evenings. Where can the crowds be found? Boba shops. And well, we have the Taiwanese to thank for that. Sweetened black tea with milk has been a thing for a long time in Taiwan, but it wasn't until the 1980s where the ubiquitous black pearl became a thing. Everyone is now ravenous for a good boba. Words like taco, ramen, or banh mi have become part of the everyday American lexicon. Boba has now entered into that very cultural zeitgeist. Now, if only the Taiwanese rice dish Li Ro Fan became just as popular. I'm Linhbergh, and this is my partner, Carissa. We love food and we love to cook. And for the past few years, we've taken that passion to the road. We've traveled all over and cooked meals in the most spectacular of landscapes. So come with us as we try to satiate our hunger by learning about new dishes to be cooked in the world's best kitchen, the outdoors. These are our good friends, Dan and Marlene. The two of them have been living full-time on the road for the past 15 years along with their 3 kids and recently added 2 cats. This is Ava, their oldest. Then there's Mila, Luca, Toby, and Twin. They've traveled to 49 of the 50 US states and 49 countries across 5 continents. Some of their favorites are Norway, Morocco, Croatia, Portugal, and Guatemala. The 7 of them are currently traveling in a Mercedes Sprinter 4x4, heading south towards their next goal, to drive where the road ends at the bottom of the planet, Ushuaia, Argentina.
All right, Dan, what are we making today?
It's called Lu Rou Fan.
Lu Rou Fan.
Lu Rou Fan. That's
Okay.
it. You got it.
Okay.
It's braised pork rice.
Uh-huh.
It's a pretty common dish. I think there's versions of it in mainland China too, but this is like a Taiwanese version. Should we pour a round of Taiwan beer?
Let's do it.
This is what is, in fact, the label is also old school.
Okay.
This is what it used to look like when I lived there. Of course, I was 12. I didn't drink then, but on my subsequent visits, I did.
Was boba invented yet when you were there?
It was a bit early, but you can tell the evolution from what they used to have
Right.
into what they have now.
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't know about boba, though, is that it was invented by the Taiwanese.
Yeah. I remember one of our friends on Instagram who lives in Canada, in Calgary, posted a story of her drinking boba. And I'm like, wow, that's so cool. You guys have boba there? I was, in retrospect, I realized, wow, I must have sounded like such an idiot because boba is everywhere now.
Yeah.
But before we left to go to Europe, it wasn't, like it happened within those couple of years.
Right.
It went from only in like Asian neighborhoods to everywhere.
It's everywhere now.
It's everywhere now, yeah.
Kind of one of those weird things where like that has become the one thing that has touched upon the rest of the world. Kind of like Italians had pizza. Pizza touches everywhere. It's ubiquitous, right?
Yeah.
American Chinese food is everywhere. And boba was like, that's the thing that went everywhere. And people are now touched every single day by Taiwanese cuisine, if you want to think about it that, with boba.
Yeah, it's a very relatable thing that people can hold on to.
So can you give me the elevator pitch of how you guys met?
We both started college. We both went to UC Santa Barbara. And Dan started working at the Dining Commons. And after a year or 2, I decided to also get a job. And we just started hanging out and like a summer of being best friends. And we went on a trip to Baja together and to a surf spot. And we joked around at that first camp spot we went to when we met that summer. It's like, why don't we just drive to Cabo?
Just drive all the way down.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, maybe we should. And we like laughed it off. Like, why would we drive that far to see something interesting? You know?
It's also different back then because you didn't you didn't know anything about all the stops in between because it wasn't, there wasn't anything where you can just be like, let's scope out what it's like before we drive.
Yeah, right.
It's like the second we drive past the farthest south point that we knew, everything was an unknown.
Right.
And then the next summer came around, and then that we decided to officially become an item.
And then you guys got married.
We didn't get married till 2002.
You're close.
Yeah.
You were almost in trouble there.
Yeah. I was going to. I was just stretching my jaws.
So when did the love of travel come in?
It didn't happen until after we had kids. Like,
Yeah.
we were on this path of...
we
okay,
were so into just like careers and making money and like owning homes and
Getting a
maybe
new
buying a bigger
car.
house, buying a newer car, stuff like that.
And then we had a kid, and that first date, I took Ava to daycare. And then I was like, okay, somebody else is going to watch her now. And like, see her first step for, watch her eat avocado for the first time. And I'll just be at work. And it was just like, it was too much.
What are they gonna do? They're just gonna send us videos of things that happen? Like,
It was just like, why? Like, Dan was working at home. And eventually my company I was working for went out of business. And all of a sudden I was working at home. It's like, why are we here in this actual house? Anywhere can be our home. And so we got a camper and did like a few test trips. And then from there, it evolved pretty quickly.
So these are shiitake mushrooms. They're dried, and now they're hydrated. And there's also some dried shrimp in here. And we'll fish them all out, but I'm not gonna toss the liquids. We're gonna keep these liquids because there's a lot of flavors that went into the liquids. We'll use this liquid to make the caramelized rock sugar. And then now we'll just, we'll chop these up. And as you can see, these are gonna be like roughly the same size as these chunks of pork. So a good way to sneak in mushrooms for your family members that don't like mushrooms. And I'm just gonna chop these shrimps up so they're sort of, they're gonna be roughly like the size that you would do like chopped garlic.
Yeah.
Because this is at this point, it's just kind of a seasoning.
You guys homeschool your kids.
We do.
Right. What do you think they've gained from not being in a proper school here in the States?
The thing that matters to us the most is that they're open-minded. This is almost like a fail-safe way to make sure that your kids have that ability to recognize differences in people, differences in things. It was never really the thing that we set out to do. It just became the thing that it is now. We never started out thinking that we're going to travel for this long, go to this many places, see all this and see all that. It's just, we just keep putting one foot in front of the other. And we just happen to end up here. So homeschooling is the same way. Like, can we do this next step? Yes, we can do this next step. There's been a couple of times where we thought, maybe we can't do this next step.
Like, we crossed into Morocco, and Dan and I were our first time in Africa for all of us. And we were just so high strung because our phones didn't work. We didn't know how to go get a cell phone, like do the first day to a new country kind of stuff.
Right.
And I think the kids felt it, and they were in the back seat. We're like, is everything okay? And they're like, yeah, people are just dressed different, that's all.
Right, we have our jaded adult minds. These places look like things that we see in certain movies because it's actually all shot in Morocco.
Yeah.
We were driving to Cappadocia, and then we stopped outside of the capital, Ankara, in Turkey. The only place that we knew that we could stay at was this parking lot behind this hotel, so we go there, we talk to them, okay, it's okay to stay there, and then can we come in and like relax and sit down? It's like, yeah, no problem. We go in, and like the hotel manager comes out, brings us tea, obviously, and it's like, here's also a plate of fruit and like cookies and crackers. And we're like, oh, how much is that? I said, no, you don't pay. And we're at a hotel where this is what they do for a living, I think of Iran, I think of Pakistan, I think of even Afghanistan as like beautiful places I would love to visit someday.
Yeah. The kids have experienced more countries than almost, I would say 99% of kids in this world, right? So how important is experiencing food for them in these new places?
They love food, but they're also your typical kids that can be picky.
I mean, I cooked something just recently, like yesterday, and then they went straight for it without question, right? And I think that's a very rare thing to me.
They love Asian food. So, you know, as long as anything
They're
Asian
game
food,
for trying anything.
they are.
Our
Yeah.
oldest Ava just did something for school, and it's like, you know, learning a new language. What's the most important thing to learn first? And she's like, how to order food.
I agree with her.
It's part of survival. You have to eat.
So what do you miss the most when you're not in the States, food wise?
I miss good fish tacos.
That's a huge thing. That's a
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
good answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
Food
fish
in general.
tacos in mainland is not as good
Yeah.
as obviously because
Baja
Baja
or
fish
Southern
tacos
Cal.
is what it is.
That one truck.
Yeah.
Yeah. The whale, the gray whale. Yeah. Tony's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
If you were on death row tomorrow, what would be the last meal?
This right here, right?
Of course. At the school we met at and fell in love with, there was a Mexican hole-in-the-wall place called Tio Alberto's or TA's. And
Okay.
they make monster burritos, and you'd
Yeah.
eat there at 2 a.m.
Uh-huh.
And that would have to be my last
So
meal.
what specific burrito?
Four-way carne asada burrito.
Yeah.
You know, because like that's
Chili verde
these
sauce.
giant burritos is a California
It's a
thing.
California
It's
thing.
a Mission style from
Yeah.
San Francisco
Yeah,
originally,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So in Mexico, you don't even find it. So you can only get it here.
So how about yours?
I mean, that burrito is pretty good, but
Can't copy me.
yeah, I can't copy you. I love me some Peking duck.
Okay. Is this it? Is this the final answer?
I think so. With the fluffy bun.
With the fluffy bun.
with the
That's
sauce.
fancy.
Wow.
And the
Wow.
skin.
Fancy.
Hey man, this is all you're gonna have. All you're gonna have. Done well though, with the
Yeah.
green spring onions
And then the sauce.
and the sauce.
Okay.
A little bit of meat, a little bit of crispy skin.
Oh no! That's
have to
really
have
good.
that.
That's
Yeah.
really good. That's a great answer,
Yeah.
and I love that. So with that, let's take the circus to camp and let's go camping. How about that?
Let's do it.
Let's
Yeah,
do it.
let's
We're ready.
Welcome to the mountains of Southern California. We traveled in today with the Malimish family. We had a beautiful day out here. The blue sky came out. Yesterday was cloudy and foggy out of nowhere, and today we woke up, it was blue. And today, we're making Liro fun. Did I say that right, Dan?
It's not bad. It's not bad for a foreigner.
Today, we're making the camp version, and because we're at camp, things are a little bit easier, a little bit quicker. We're doing it the quick version. We're gonna enjoy it at camp, and it's gonna be almost as good as Dan's. We'll see. So with that, let's get into the ingredients of what we are making today and the differences here. So first and foremost, we're using ground pork. Pork belly is hard to get when you're traveling. You'd be surprised how hard pork belly is to find here in the States. Next, an onion, garlic. I'm using pureed garlic or chopped garlic because we're at camp and, you know, it's just make things easier, less chopping, less cleaning, things like that. Ginger, soy sauce, dark soy sauce. This is harder to find, but you can find it in the ethnic aisles of bigger grocery stores. So if you're in the city, this is Shaoxing wine or Chinese cooking wine. If you can't find this is kind of like Asian store specific ingredient. But if you can't find it, you can use sherry wine or red wine vinegar. Yes, Dan?
Less of it, but yeah.
Less of it, yeah. So you want more of the alcohol content than the actual vinegar aspect of it. Dan used rock sugar. Rock sugar is really hard to find. So brown sugar, it's a little easier. We don't have to caramelize it. We don't have to let things sit and things like that. And yeah, I prefer brown sugar anyways. And then we have cinnamon, cloves, bay leaves, star anise, and we have dried shiitakes here. You can use fresh shiitakes, but this is more flavor when you have dried shiitakes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, and then the last but not least is the fried shallots. Since we are not using a fat, we're using the fried shallots to thicken up the sauce a little bit. So yeah, let's get started. And first things first, we have to let these shiitake mushrooms soak. We are going to use the shiitake mushroom water just like Dan did. And so it's gonna take like 10 to 20 minutes for them to soak. If you use hot water, you could cut that time in half, but we're at camp and, you know, we're
Yeah.
using regular water. So let's go ahead and get these going.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go ahead and start chopping an onion. And we're gonna dice a whole onion because onion adds sweetness the longer you cook it. And so we don't have to use a lot of brown sugar. And it's always very, very important. I always clean up after every single section that I do when I'm cooking out, even at home too. If I'm done with something, I clean up and move on next day. It keeps less things to do later on.
Helps me out to do less dishes.
Yep, and then we're not gonna use this whole ginger, so we're just gonna break this guy off and we're gonna slice this guy up. And then, there we go. All right, so that is pretty much the prep. We can now start cooking. So oil is in, and then we're gonna add in the ground pork first. And I always go with these packagings of like ground beef and ground pork when we're camping. Nothing leaks out, and then these things just last forever. Not last forever, but they just last longer. And we're feeding about 8 people today, so I'm doing about 2 pounds of ground pork. There we go. All right, so that's going. What I like to do with that is let that sit, and then it's gonna start browning up, and then mix that as it goes, and then we're gonna add the onions, and then the ginger, and the garlic. I like to scare away vampires, so I add a lot of garlic. Garlic is at your discretion. So there we go. That's a lot. Yeah.
I love garlic. Load it up. You smell it through my pores. It's fine.
Yeah. I'm going to mix that up, and then I will start putting other things in.
You just want me to keep mixing it as it heats up?
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Wow. Wow, Stella.
Let me see this. Let me smell that. I think we just eat it like that.
Oh, yeah.
There's no seasoning in it yet.
Garlic, onion, pork.
Yeah. I mean, we're getting there.
I'm very curious how this is going to compare to yours.
Yeah?
I don't know, man. This was really good. This is almost like too much cheating, but you know, when you're at camp, this is the most convenient thing you could do to like have a very nice unique meal.
I mean, like any kind of camp meal is a cheat meal for it doesn't matter what dish it is, right?
That's true.
So it might not be taste as good as Dan's.
I'm excited.
But we're excited, right? All right, and I will start adding seasoning in. Soy sauce goes in first. That is our major. We're not adding any salt to this, so this is our major salt component. There we go.
Yeah, and have it all over the table. All over the table.
Here we go. And then dark soy sauce. Normally people think dark soy sauce is just like more soy sauce of like salty and then things like that. But it is actually just sweeter than actual regular soy sauce. And adds a ton of color.
Oh yeah, that's a very rich color.
Yep.
My goodness.
It's okay. It's okay. All right, Shaoxing wine goes in. There we go. It's about a shot, 2 shots. Yep, there we go.
Nobody's thirsty.
Yeah.
We're at elevation, so we're gonna feel that, but it's gonna burn off. So it's.
Oh wait, is this alcoholic?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
There we go. All right, and then I'm gonna put in a whole stick of cinnamon. This goes straight in, like so. And then I have a tea strainer here, and this is where I'm gonna put the star anise, the cloves, and the bay leaf, so we won't have to fish it out later. The cinnamon stick is easy to fish out, so that's nothing to worry about. All right, so there we go. Close that up.
You're just gonna sink it in. We'll
Or just sink it in, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's boiling now. Sink that boy in. And I'm gonna fish these guys out.
Do I need to put water in? Oh.
Oh, here we
never
go.
mind, the goods.
Water's going in. That is our shiitake mushroom water, and I'm gonna cut these shiitakes here. Because we're doing ground pork, I'm gonna do a pretty fine dice of these mushrooms because you want them about the same size as the grind. All right. All right, this goes in.
I feel like yours is gonna be super healthy compared to mine.
What? Oh, because of the fat.
Because of the fat.
But fat's good for you. Everyone loves collagen these days. Yo, people are paying for these jars of collagen now. $30.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Right?
true. But you know, like calorie-wise, this will be lower,
Lighter.
right? Because this is what 80-20 pork,
Yep.
and a pork belly is like 50-50.
So good.
Adding some more water. Yep, there we go. I'm gonna add a little bit more dark soy sauce because I want more color. All right, brown sugar time. Ready?
Yeah. Perfect.
A little more.
Sweetness.
There we go. A little bit of sweetness. And I think that's, oh, one more thing, the fried shallots, but I forgot to grab pepper. So I'm gonna grab pepper, throw it in, and we're gonna add the shallots. So I'm gonna grab pepper. Here we go. Pepper goes in. I like it peppery, so I'm gonna add quite a bit. And then shallots go in.
This was pretty quick.
Mm-hmm. All right, there we go.
Wow, that's a lot, Linhbergh.
All right, so that's pretty much good and done. All right, so it's been about 15 minutes. The Linhbergh fun is now done. I seasoned it, I tasted it, and it needed a little something, so I did go ahead and add some MSG. I was not planning on adding MSG, but Dan off camera mentioned that you're missing the dried shrimp, and dried shrimp adds such a massive umami punch that we did not have in this dish. So I added MSG, and it's great now. Let's get with the final kind of like garnishes and things like that. So we have a pot of water now boiling, and we're gonna blanch these bok choys in that. But these are 100% optional. These are pickled radish. And then I went ahead and I made what's called ramen eggs last night before we left. And this is just like a foolproof way of making eggs that exactly how you want it. In the inside, it's called the 6.5 minute egg or the 6 minute egg. I boiled eggs for 6 minutes. And then in the marinade, it's soy sauce, sugar, mirin, and rice wine vinegar, and that's kind of it. You could Google it if you really wanted to. Yeah, it's really easy. And now, when we're serving, we just take them out, cut them in half, put them on a bowl, and they are done. We don't have to cook them. We don't have to put them in a pot. We don't have to worry about overcooking them if they go back in the pot. So they will always be just gooey all the time. Yep, throw that in first.
I'm scared.
Yep, there you go.
It has a little bit of bits of onions on it, but it's fine.
It's fine. I'll take it out for you.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Are we doing both?
Nope, just one.
Okay.
I'll take that from you, and then just slice them up.
How small? Like that?
Yep, yeah, like that. Okay. And you want it about that thin. You could do thicker if you wanted to. This is just an incredibly traditional way of eating Linhbergh fun. And the weird thing is, these things smell.
Give me a piece.
These things like smell like crazy, but they're so delicious, so good. It cuts the fat of this dish, and I would say it's almost mandatory. But yeah, it's a dish that's everywhere in Taiwan. You get it street food, you get it at home markets, you get it at homes, and then it's everywhere. This dish is literally everywhere in Taiwan. Rice, very important. If you do not have a robust electrical system, don't use a rice cooker unless it's a small rice cooker. Just use a pot. And then what the Asians do if you do pot cooking is what's called the finger method. When we first met, Carissa thought I was joking. I was like, wait, this is gonna work? And so what you do is you take your index or pinky finger, and then you put the water line from the top of the rice to the water.
So
and then
top of rice,
Yep.
and then this is the water level.
water level. And
right
it
there.
full fail safe will always 100% work, no matter what.
Yeah, no matter how much rice you have.
So I'm gonna plate, because I want Dan to try this.
We're stoked.
All right, Dan. I hope this is good. All right, let's go over here.
Where's the meat going?
That's going right on top.
Come on in.
What do you
I'll go
think,
on this
Dan?
side.
Does it smell right?
Looking good.
There we go.
There you go.
All right, this is Dan's trying my version, the camp version. We'll see if it's good or not.
Ah,
You want to use a spoon?
how dare you?
Well,
I see a lot of hints of my ancestors.
Hints.
No, it's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Camp version is A++.
Very good.
Yeah.
Marlene, do you want to try this?
Marlene, come try this. The ground pork doesn't have the skin.
Uh-huh.
Less collagen came off of it, so it didn't make the sauces thick.
No, it did not make the sauces thick.
It was really good.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to
Good
make
job,
this.
Linhbergh. We will make well.
We got the approval. We're good to go.
Yeah.
And Marlene loves it. So well, hopefully they'll be making it in Guatemala or wherever they travel to. I would love to see this made.
Oh,
And
when it
with,
happens, you'll get tagged.
and with that, I think that's it. And until next time, we'll see you on the trail. These days, we're inundated with what is the best. The best hamburger, the best steak, the best tacos, the best boba, the best rig. And most of the time, the best usually ends up being, yeah, it's good, but never the life-changing experience we all expected. It's all subjective, just like grandma's or mom's cooking. When you eat the same thing over the course of many years, your love for it grows. Repetition becomes the incubator for that love. Li Ro Fan is universally loved by all Taiwanese. Every single one of them grew up eating it. It's arguably the number 2 dish in Taiwan, beef noodle soup being the undisputed number 1. Mom made it, dad made it, the grandparents made it. Even the street stall guy made it. When you have that much universal love for a single dish, you always get into argument of who makes it the best. The dish you enjoy eating the most and the one you eat the most often gives you the best feeling. Once a month? Great. Once a week? Congratulations, you're now a fan. But to me, nothing beats someone taking the time to teach you how to cook their beloved dish. They pass their love to another in a very tangible way. And to enjoy such a special dish out here with these particularly incredible people, that's the best. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Marlene.